And hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Box Office Shuffle, a podcast where the three of us take our physical media collections, put them in a randomizer, and talk about a movie every other week, give or take. I'm one of your hosts, Thomas, a.k.a. Mr. Warburg. Joining me after his coughing fit is Joe, a.k.a. Joe.
Hi.
And Chris, a.k.a. Gamma Karuchidor.
What up?
All right, so this week, the Shuffler spat out from Joey's collection. It gave us 28 Days Later. And this is a little bit of a different, podcast for us because I'm not actually doing the deep dive on this one. Chris did, because he didn't watch the movie, because zombies, he's not a big fan of it. If you watched the last 2 weeks episode, we talked about why he was sitting this one out. So, it's probably a good thing he did, because it's definitely a little more zombie forward than, like, the last one we watched in terms of the, like, encounters, I think, and how it's shot.
I'd say the way it's shot, maybe, but there's definitely a lot less zombies.
Oh, no, I'm not talking, like, amount, but I am talking, like the tropes. You know what I mean? Like the Romero kind of zombie tropes.
I was still in the call while the movie was going, and I did have it up on my other monitor. I did not fully pay attention to the movie. But when I was watching when there were zombie bits. And it was pretty interesting. I found it somewhat interesting of a movie. Not a movie that I would go out of my way and be like, I'll bust through the zombiness of it. But I don't know. We can get into this more later, but
certainly.
It was shot. It was definitely shot like an early 2000s movie.
Oh, yes. You can absolutely tell we're
so
watching
much
like a low-budget early 2000s movie.
Yeah. Almost indie vibes some point in time.
Well, I mean, given the budget, that is.
Yeah. You know what it felt like? It felt like a zombie version of a skateboarding video that would be at the end of a VHS. Just
unfamiliar territory.
Ultimately longer.
That is a very niche rabbit hole to go down. But Chris, how about you hit us with some facts and figures for 28 Days Later?
All right. So 28 Days Later, it originally came out. Well, it had two release dates. It originally came out in the UK, November 1st in 2002. However, it did not come to the United States or Canada or anything until about 7 months later, almost 8 months later. No, 9 months. Wow, math. 27th of June, 2003. So kind of weird that it originally came out in the UK, but apparently it was big enough in the UK that it made a US release, I guess. Budget was $8 million. It grossed $45 million in US, but $84 million worldwide, and all of that was estimated, of course. The budget was estimated. It's an hour and 53 minutes long, so a 2-hour movie. And yeah, so we've actually done the writer for this movie. We've actually watched a movie from them. Alex Garland wrote this movie. He's wrote a couple that came out this year. We had Warfare and Civil War that actually came out 2025. I guess maybe Civil War was 2024.
It was last summer, yeah.
Okay. Civil War was last year. Warfare was this year.
And he's
other
getting,
notable
I believe
ones?
Alex Garland is doing the Elden Ring potential movie.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Very
like directing
interesting.
it or writing it?
I believe probably both.
Okay.
Do we think that the fans of the Elden Ring movie will be as toxic as the fans of the Elden Ring game?
Only time will tell.
Oh, yeah.
But my guess would be that's not a bad idea. Not a bad notion. Apparently this was his first
Alex
movie.
Garland, this was his first written movie?
At least on the filmography. He may have worked
okay,
on some
okay.
other projects that didn't make the Wikipedia cut.
Yeah,
but
maybe some indie stuff, but this was his big one.
Mhm.
But also wrote a couple of other movies, notably Annihilation, which we watched 2 episodes ago.
I think
3
so.
episodes ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
So this is our second movie from him in our series thus far. I wouldn't be surprised if we got another one because I know Wartburg owns Dredd.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I also have Ex
we might
Machina,
be,
which I think he wrote that too.
and Ex
Yeah.
Machina, which I've seen Ex Machina, and I have varying opinions on that movie. But still a decent movie. I'm glad I've at least watched it once. As for the director, this is Danny Boyle, who has done things like 127 Hours, which that was James Franco, the
Cut
guy,
off his
the
arm.
climber who got
Climate
caught,
stuck.
and then he had to chop off his arm to get out. Slumdog Millionaire, Sunshine, and
Another
Train
Cillian
Spotting.
Murphy classic, Sunshine.
Yep. And Train Spotting. With that was Ewan McGregor, right?
Yes. He also
believe
did,
so.
I think, yesterday, right before COVID.
That sounds right. That sounds right. Think I remember seeing that.
There was the one where like the Beatles get erased from history,
Oh, really? That'd be
and then
awesome.
but only one guy remembers it, and then he uses it to make money.
That's crazy. Okay. Notable cast and crew. Speaking of Train Spotting, the lead was Cillian Murphy. But the reason I bring up Train Spotting, Ewan McGregor, we're going to go into a little trivia right now. Ewan McGregor was supposed to play this role. And then him and Danny Boyle had a falling out for a little bit. They've apparently since reconciled. But that was supposed to be played by Ewan McGregor. That falling out happened, and it wasn't even Cillian Murphy yet. I feel like we've talked about this happening before with the previous one, but the next person slotted up was Ryan Gosling to play.
Oh damn, that would have
Jim.
been really young Ryan Gosling.
Holy shit.
But there was a scheduling conflict. That's what it says on IMDb.
What would he have
That's
been
my
in,
source.
in 2001.
That would have been a year or two after Remember the Titans, probably. So he would have been super
Yeah.
young.
Let me go back here to his IMDb. He was in The Believer. Yeah, he was in Remember the Titans in 2000.
So yeah, 2 years after.
Yeah, he had 2 movies come out in 2002.
2002?
Nothing I remember.
Interesting. Anyway, that's kind of crazy that Ryan Gosling could have been
That'd be a little different.
Jim.
Yeah, that would have been a very
Yeah.
different movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought they'd have gone for an American.
Right.
Like as a second
Because
option.
everybody else in this film was European.
Yeah. Like vaguely, UK, Scottish,
Yeah.
in that, people on the island. Man, that'd be a weird, unless like him being an American stuck in London was like part of the story. That'd have been weird.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Notable cast and crew. I only recognized 4 of the names.
Same.
So I'm assuming we all have Cillian Murphy as recognizable, Naomi Harris, Christopher Eccleston, and Brendan Gleeson, who I found it very interesting looking at their IMDb pages. Each of these people has been in different DC or Marvel cinematic universes. Each has been in a different one. Do you know? We all know Christopher Eccleston was
He was
in.
Malekith.
Yes, so he's
Dark
in the
World.
MCU. Cillian Murphy is
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy. Brendan Gleeson. This one's the
This
more
one stumps
recent
me.
one. Huh?
This one stumps me. Who?
I'm vaguely picturing him in a military uniform.
You're thinking of him in Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, he's in that.
That's Edge of Tomorrow. This is one that I don't think you guys have seen either. He was in Joker Fully Ado.
Yeah, haven't seen it. Didn't care to.
Yeah, me neither.
The-
And then Naomi Harris.
What was she in? Did she voice something?
No.
What was she in?
Actually, I don't think so.
What year?
2021.
Was she in the Suicide Squad?
No.
Okay. Which one? DC, Marvel.
Marvel,
Ooh,
but
2000.
not MCU.
That's
got
too
me.
early for Madam Web. Venom, the second one.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage, which is our tie-in to Kingpin
Oh yeah,
because
she
Woody
plays
Harrelson's
Banshee,
in that movie.
right? She's Banshee.
Shriek.
Yeah. Well, DC's
Yeah.
DC Banshee, like same power.
So
set,
there,
like, yeah.
so there's our Kingpin tie-in because that's Woody
one?
Harrelson.
Oh my god,
Woo.
we got it out of the way early this time.
I'm trying to put him in stumpier places.
In case the audience, in case you're stumbling into this as a first-time viewer, back in season 1 of the show, Joey made us watch Kingpin because for some reason that's in his collection, and we've been trying to find any movie. Every movie we have watched since has had 1 degree of separation from Kingpin, which is apparently the center of fucking Hollywood.
Yep.
Nothing's had 2.
And it has,
Even
like,
Judi
4 notable
Dench
actors.
Is 1.
Yeah, with Randy Quaid for some reason.
Yeah, like even Casino Royale did not get us,
No.
you know, more than 1 degree away from Kingpin.
Yeah, like we need to go to black and white era in order to get out of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know any of the other names here. Maybe I've seen them in some things here and there, but
Speaking of
nothing
the
like-
names, though, speaking of Eccleston, that is the second zombie movie we have watched that has had a once or future Doctor Who.
Yeah. I was like,
We
what?
watched World War Z, and that's got Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Apparently,
That shocked me.
Doctor
I was
Who
like, I
people
think
love
that's
zombie movies.
I think that's a doctor? It's like, what the shit?
Now, a zombie movie with the Doctor Who's would be like the actors who have played Doctor Who surviving a zombie movie.
God.
Like, remember, This Is the
like-
End that had it was Seth Rogen as Seth Rogen, McBride as McBride. You know, like they were playing themselves. But do that in Britain with zombies, and it's the doctors that played Doctor Who.
I was thinking of
And make it a
the,
comedy.
of the what. I was thinking of the What If episode where like the Avengers got turned into zombies, and it's like Spider-Man and Wasp and everybody who's like
Oh yeah, I could see
fighting
that.
the zombies. And I was like, oh, do that with Doctor Who. That'd be kind of cool.
But I was thinking you'd make it a comedy, and then like the survivors that help them are Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
Oh my god!
But like them playing themselves. It's like, don't worry, guys,
Yeah.
we filmed a movie doing this, and then they die
Yeah.
horribly.
They say that, and then they go in with like
Yeah, they
bats
go in
with
with-
like
they go
the
with their
tie
cricket
the
bat and
tie
everything,
wrapped around
and
their
just get
head, and they just
absolutely
get
slaughtered.
destroyed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be amazing.
As for awards, only one real more prestigious award show that I saw they had was the Saturn Awards. They won Best Horror, Best Director, and Best Writing in 2003. But I mean, that's just 3 of the awards that they won. They had 10 wins on 32 nominations in other award ceremonies like British Independent Film Awards, European Film Awards, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it was good enough to get 2 sequels, one of which is coming out in a couple weeks.
Indeed. And
So-
actually, yeah, it comes out on June 20th, 2025. And the 4K Steelbook, I think it's actually going to be the first time this is released on 4K. In general, 28 days later. That comes out on June 4th.
Believe so.
Wow.
Yeah, because like there was for the longest time you couldn't like unless you had a
can't watch
physical
this
copy,
anywhere.
you can't watch this. It's bizarre
Right.
Yeah.
because it's of
Well,
that
I
era
think
where like the streaming rights like are really messed up. Kind of like remember like how you couldn't watch Dogma from Kevin Smith for like 20 years unless you owned the physical copy. Like it was in that kind of similar weird limbo between like Columbia and Sony and Fox and
All that.
weird place with streaming rights.
I also kind of blame the way it was filmed because it was digital when it started. And
Yeah.
it looks weird. The quality just looks bad.
Yeah, this is
Until-
actually one of the first major films that was one of the trivia things. One of the first fully digital shot major films.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe, because this would have been digital HD, I assume. It wouldn't have been digital SD. Because that like there was a lot of digital
yeah.
SD stuff in the 90s, but not digital HD.
Yeah.
Because this just
A lot of
looked
TV
really...
transitioned to digital SD in the 90s. That's why like Farscape and like Deep Space Nine and Voyager are never going to get remastered like Next Generation because it's digital SD and you can only
Right.
upres so much
Right.
before it starts to look like poop.
Because I'm wondering if they're gonna have to. I don't know how they're gonna like remaster
I don't
this
know.
into like 4K. It'll be interesting. I hope that they like slap in.
Yeah,
an AI
I'm
thing
interested
and-
on the reviews on how that
awful.
4K looks.
Yeah.
Because that
this
might
the-
be just spoiler my later talk. I wouldn't mind owning this. I quite enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. I like for this. We only had to watch it in a wide. We didn't have like full screen or whatever. And I would like to watch it in full screen.
Yeah, I don't ever have a problem with the widescreen. Like that's largely how they're framed on purpose. So I don't have a problem with that. But this is my first time watching it, and I quite enjoyed this movie. Do you want to talk what our thoughts were on the movie in general?
Yeah.
Oh, can you guys because I wasn't fully paying attention, can you guys run through the film
plot?
for me? Like what's the tie-in? Like I don't understand how he woke up 28 days later.
Yeah,
Or
that's
is
only
he,
said
like-
once. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when does 28 days later happen? Is it the beginning of the film? Is it the end of the film? Like
Well, it happens twice technically.
oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah. So how it happens is obviously the chimps are infected because the scientists are clearly studying this virus, and the guy saying to cure you have to understand means they know it's in nature somewhere, like
Yes.
So they're clearly like trying to
and-
find a cure.
And one of the trivia things is like Danny Boyle said on the DVD extras that this is all based on the Ebola virus because it is one of the things that's like primate disease kind of thing like this that needs to be transmitted through blood or saliva or whatever. So like that's what he said in the DVD extras, that like the testing was through putting it into the Ebola virus and then putting that into the chimps, and then it becomes rage.
Okay.
And then they get out, and we have a smash cut to the 28 days later. Well, what you don't know is that basically, at the same time as the virus is just starting to break out, Cillian Murphy's characters it looked like he woke up in a surgical wing. So my guess is he was like under anesthesia, undergoing surgery for a bike accident. They don't say what the specific injury was, but probably something head-wise.
Yeah, because you kind of see it. He doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah,
but
he
it's
doesn't say
definitely
anything
just,
about it, but like
cuts and stitches on his skull.
yeah.
Huh.
So, and that's fairly common with bike couriers, helmet or not, you're probably going to have some kind of head injury.
Yeah.
Good chance of that. Because he had been got cut off by a car, probably went headfirst into the car or pavement, and is in the hospital. And then he wakes up from the anesthesia and presumably why they were doing surgery for some kind of brain swelling or whatever. So, and then he finally woke up, and there you go. Now, whether or not a human would live like that for 4 weeks without knowing anything.
So did he wake up on the bridge, or did he wake up in a hospital?
In the
'Cause
hospital.
I've always seen
He
that
woke up in the
bridge.
hospital.
Okay, so he
Yeah.
put on the nurse's
Yes.
scrubs and everything.
'Cause he woke up-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he woke up butt-ass
butt
naked.
Yeah.
You see his penis. It's the second time I've seen this actor's penis.
Hold on, let's watch the movie again.
Yeah. And so he wakes up, and we don't know when the surgery happened, whether it was right away when the outbreak happened or like a week
Yeah.
before the outbreak happened. We don't have a clear timeline on exactly when that happened. That's not really stated in the movie, but he wakes up, goes through London. They shut a bunch of iconic locations down to, show the desolation. To Joey's point about the bodies, it's an $8 million movie.
Yeah, I know.
There's only so many bodies they were going to have lying around.
The
was a
bodies
joke.
in the church were
And if you got in-
college students
Yeah.
that were just like, I want to be in a film, so they just
Yep.
became bodies.
And then obviously the other mechanic of the virus would be they don't like cannibalize, and like eat really. They're trying to spread the virus, so then they would be able to get up
okay.
and leave because they're
So
trying
then maybe
to.
I could do the zombies in this movie.
Yeah, there's not
'Cause
really
that's
any
that's
like.
the thing that gets me.
Yeah.
There's
is
some
the
blood
cannibalism.
vomiting. you know, and like you see them like
Yeah.
vomit projectile, like it's almost like a mechanism, not like they're
Okay.
sick, like the zombies puke onto people, like they're trying to physically spread the virus.
Oh, okay.
You know, so like that seems like so mechanically they could get around no bodies lying around because they're off trying to spread the virus. Like they're not dying in the streets
Yeah.
yet. That hasn't
okay.
happened yet. And that becomes part of the story. And then so he gets found by the survivors. For some reason, they blow up a gas station. One of them, which is played by Naomi Harris, who would play Moneypenny in the James Bond franchise, which is the one we haven't got to yet because I don't think is she in.
She's in.
She
She
Casino
starts in
Royale?
Skyfall.
Yeah, she's not in.
She's not in
Casino.
Quantum.
She's not in
She
Quantum and she's
starts
not in
in
Casino.
Skyfall.
Yeah. So yeah, because we just watched Casino Royale for our last movie, so we're on a bit of a British kick here. And then they eventually get attacked again, and because they believe one of the other guys might have been infected, which we do not know he was or was not, and Naomi Harris like brutally murders the guy under the pretense that he could have been infected and is a danger to them. And those two are at odds, like you know, and he's obviously new to the apocalypse. She's been living through it the entire time. But they find these like flickering Christmas lights in an apartment building with Brendan Gleeson in like full SWAT gear and butcher's gear, like just going to town on zombies to get them
It's a pretty cool
safe. Then they hear a military broadcast. They got to go to the military broadcast. Turns out, oh nope, it's actually a front. They want female slaves. And then
Yep.
he escapes capture and execution, goes back, rescues them. All the military guys die because of zombies, and then they escape. The guy gets shot in the gut, wakes up 28 days later while his gut's healing, and then they go out and put out an SOS sign and a hello sign to I think it's like a Harrier jet that's flying over as some kind of
like a
patrol,
mega-
and because clearly the outside world is still a thing, it hasn't destroyed everything. Somebody's been able to properly quarantine and actually maintain a civilization. We don't know who. They sound British on the radio.
Yeah.
They said one of the things says that the it's Finnish, so they're
Okay.
speaking Finnish.
Been speaking Finnish. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
So some
There's
kind
a
of NATO
full
countries
net.
are around. Some kind of NATO
Yeah.
infrastructures probably still exists. And yeah, that's the basic overview of the plot.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
So like, were they trying to get the women as slaves to be like reproducers kind of thing?
So
or-
the sergeant
Both
promised
for that reproduction and just base instincts.
the sergeant promised them women because one guy was going to commit suicide, and he's like,
Yeah. Technically, the
promise
major.
you
The sergeant
women.
is the one who's like,
Major,
"The fuck
sorry,
you're doing
yeah.
this? I'm gonna kill you all."
yeah,
And then
yeah,
he gets
that's the
killed.
one. Yeah, one guy I liked. I was like, okay, he's
Yeah,
he's
the sergeant
sane.
who tries to
Alright.
help, he dies.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay. Gotcha.
no, it was a
Okay.
fallen gnat, a Finnish ship or Finnish airplane.
Okay. Yeah.
If anyone wants to know.
And then obviously
Makes
there's a
sense that
sequel
they were
28
speaking Finnish.
weeks later.
Which
And
was not Danny Boyd.
That was the guy who was in Robert Carlyle was the lead in that one, I believe, and he was in one of the villains in another Bond movie we watched.
That's right. Oh
That's
my
awesome.
goodness.
Yep. And then we have 28 years later, which apparently Murphy's coming back for, along with I think Aaron Taylor Johnson is largely the lead of this one.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's 3 weeks from now.
But it is. Have I seen that Cillian Murphy's in this next one?
Yeah, that's what I said. He's coming back.
I think he's like a
But, like,
cameo.
As a. I don't know. In the trailer,
No, it's not him.
He's
They're like, it's just a dude that
infected-
happens to
Oh,
look like
okay.
him. It's not him.
Okay.
Cillian Murphy, like, no, that's not me. That's a different actor. And just with the emaciated look
it,
and everything.
it does look like
Okay.
him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy.
Apparently not him, though.
Which, speaking of the trailers, the trailer for this movie is just.
It's so weird. It's so 2000s DVD music video.
Is it really?
It is. It really is. I watched it before we jumped on tonight when you posted it in the Discord. But and holy crap, it has like it's got that whole rock music,
Yeah, with
Bit,
like weird
and then it
smash
goes-
cuts and like,
and then it goes to like some soft piano. I'm like, how
It's-
many directions are you taking this freaking trailer?
it's a very like man, back then you like trailers were like trailers now are kind of like rote and like they give away too much and everything.
Yeah.
Trailers
Yeah.
back then, fucking wild shit.
Dude,
Like you had no idea what you were getting.
The trailer for this one was like literally just setting up the movie because it was like
Yeah, just some
infection,
establishing
epidemic,
shots.
blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah,
Like
and then here's some shots. Come see our movie.
yeah, it was weird. It was a crazy trailer. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. What about you guys? Joey, you've seen this before. Would you say this is in your like your must-have part of your collection?
Yeah, because I feel like this movie kind of started the zombie boom popularity.
Oh yeah, it's largely credited with that from what I've
Yeah.
read. It kind of revived because after the Romero films died off, there hadn't been a popular zombie film in a while, and obviously after this, you would get The Walking Dead in America.
That fucking blew the fuck up.
Along with sequels for 28 years later. You'd have a number of
Mm-hmm.
other zombie movies. You'd have a zombie comedy like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
You know, like it really spurred things again. Had you guys read one of the other things that it was inspired by? Which was a 1950 British sci-fi horror novel called The Day of the Triffids.
Triffids?
Yeah, Triffids. And it's like so it's that story. Let me go back. I read the synopsis. I vaguely remember this being on an optional reading list and a thing I had in college, but I don't remember. Might have been late high school. We didn't end up reading it, but I vaguely remember like the Triffid. I was like, oh, I've seen that word before. It's a very British word. It's like one of the words they use for like big noxious plants, like weeds and stuff. Like they would probably call like kudzu vines like Triffids, like you know. Let me go back to the day
John
of the
Wyndham wrote it?
Yep, the Day of the Triffids.
Okay, I'm looking at the right one.
So instead of zombies, it's based on like these mobile, sentient-ish kind of plants that want to kill everything, like carnivorous plants called Triffids, that have been bioengineered potentially by the Russians in the novel, and then traded all over the world because they have useful byproducts. But then they break containment, start killing people. But there's also another component where there's like this mass outbreak of blindness tied to like some kind of green light, which doesn't seem to be connected to the Triffids at all. I don't really know how it works. The synopsis is crazy. But apparently that's one of the things that inspired the writing of this movie for Alec Garland, along with the George Romero Night of the Living Dead movies.
Oh, cool.
We were talking about this earlier. So Christopher Eccleston played Major Henry West. Apparently, Robert Carlyle was offered that role. And then he would play the antagonist role in the next one. Just weird that he was offered a role in the first one and just got in the second one.
Let's say good casting.
Well, yeah, because the other one was also Danny Boyle. Didn't he do both?
I don't think so.
Or is he just doing... Maybe he didn't.
Let me see. 28. It's 28 weeks later.
I thought he did. Yeah, it's in his filmography.
Is it?
Yeah, 28.
28 weeks.
No, it's not.
later.
28 years is. He came back for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jeremy Renner's in 28 weeks
in the
later.
one, yep.
Yep.
I've seen that. I've seen 28 weeks later more.
Yeah, it's like got a
probably
more of a
28 days
military
later.
component to it in the story,
Yeah.
from what I remember.
Yeah. If I remember right, yeah, Jeremy Renner's got like actually some pretty good character development in it.
Yeah.
Character development.
Idris,
I always find
Idris
it-
Elba, Rose Byrne.
Yeah.
I always find it really interesting when I'm watching through Castle again, and is it Castle? Yeah, it's Castle, where Jeremy Renner is a character on one of the episodes.
Weird. Like that was
He's
of
like
the
a-
time
he's
when
like
he
a
was like a
rock
cast.
big name.
Yeah.
Because Castle came out
see
like
if I can
08.
find it.
Like, Renner was an established name by then.
Oh,
Normally
maybe
you
it was.
see...
Oh no, it wasn't Castle. It was House.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a little earlier.
2007 in House.
Just a little bit, though. Like, that's weird.
Yeah,
Then again,
Yeah, it
House
was one
also had some
episode.
big names. Like,
it did.
yeah, like Omar Epps
That's
was
true.
an established actor, right? Like, for a
Mhm.
series regular to get for them. Like, obviously, you had, oh my god, what is her fucking name? Plays 13. plays Elmore Epps' girlfriend middle of the show.
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde.
No.
And obviously, the lead was a really established, well-known actor too in House.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a bit of a weird one, because normally with those kind of week of the week, episode of the week shows, you'd have like an up-and-coming actor who would then go on later to greater things.
Right.
But House was always kind of weird like that. Very big show at the time. It's always in my
Big
YouTube
show.
algorithm.
I love it. It's a great show.
So yeah, should we get to scores for between me and Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you give it, Joe? You've seen this before.
A three. I don't know. I'm gonna go with a 3.7 or 3.8.
Well, you gotta keep it 3.54.
3 point. Yeah,
3.5.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
3
3.5 or a 4?
Because
it's scaled.
8.
Take half. You take 8 divided by 2 is 4. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5.
Okay, let's do 4.
Okay.
Clearly, you guys
What about
never
you,
got on
Robert?
Letterboxd. Because there's no 3.75.
I still know the 0.5
Oh, I was just-
zero system.
Yeah.
Joey's just crazy.
I just don't like being shoehorned into like you have to pick a number.
But that's the system we
I'm picking
went
my own number.
You do, Joey!
It's the system we went with.
No, I'm just kidding.
You guys were supposed to get on Letterboxd so we could have group rating stuff, but we don't.
Here's the thing. I always forget about it the moment we stop recording.
Oh, it's fine. I just use
I
it for
should.
all the movies I watch.
Yeah.
Have for a couple years now. It's quite fun. I like keeping track of things like that. I'm a guy who has a spreadsheet of like how many times I go golfing in a year, just to keep track of stuff.
Oh,
So.
man.
Yeah, well, not even the scores. I just want to know, like, am I getting my money's worth on my membership? You know,
Oh, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
so I decide if I don't do it next year. Yeah, so I would probably give it a 3.5, but like I liked it 3.5. It's definitely one of like some of the direction choices like is hard to tell what's happening in some of the stuff. Some of that obviously has to do with it being an $8 million movie, even for the time. That's really cheap.
Yeah.
Like you could tell, and yeah, it was definitely a film that I enjoyed, but I don't know if I'd go back to a ton. But I might own it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because every once in a while you want to watch that kind of story, and it's a well done version of that story. So definitely one I'll probably buying if I can. If there's enough of a print on the 4K, you know, I might end up buying that if it ever goes on sale for cheap. Sometimes they don't. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, yeah.
I think that's going to do it for talking about this movie, and we should probably kick over
So.
to our wheel spin page. Oh, we're on the Wikipedia, which is the wrong. Wheelofnames.com. Open. And I think, actually, but first we need to do, hang on, we'll go back to the main cam. Because I think, hang on, let me go back to my notes. We started over last week, right?
Yes, this was this. Well, this was the end of the
Yeah, 'cause it was-
spins, was it not?
So this would be episode 9.
Yeah.
1 was a one-off, so that doesn't count. So we had 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 2,
I think it
3,
was
4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8, 9. And so the 10th will be the end of another one, which would mean we went
Wait.
episode 7. That was Joe. Hang on, we gotta do math. We gotta figure this out. I need somebody to take notes.
This was Chris's.
Oh, this is this. I just pulled up last week's episode. It landed on Joey last week, so it is Wartburg's.
Did we have all
movie.
three of us in, or was it just me and Joe?
No, it was
Just
just
you.
you and Joe.
So it's my list. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Speaking of my list, I had a couple things to add while this is spinning. I'll be right back.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, no. So, Chris, I did not expect a dick shot right away in the movie. I was like, that's just junk. All right, okay.
I want you guys to not have the green anymore. What?
Uh-oh. Cillian Murphy's the new Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I
what
was like,
I'm
oh,
hearing?
penis.
Nice.
Okay, all right. Just not his soul. His body type, not the. Just full mask coming out of the God.
Okay, that's better. I don't know why that changed. Anyway, Joey knows the 2 movies I added because I told him while we were golfing. But I added Upgrade, which is a sci-fi,
Ooh, I wanted to see that so much.
kind of a sci-fi horror flick that I really enjoy. It's got a lot of fun bits, like not comedy, but like tension-breaking moments with its humor, and very much in that vein of like Happy Death Day. It's a really solid sci-fi concept. I really enjoyed it, and I went full comedy on the next one, MacGruber,
Yes.
because Will
Good
Forte's
movie.
been making the rounds on a number of different podcasts because of a new Netflix show he's in. And so then MacGruber's been in my YouTube algorithm for some reason. So I just watched all the MacGruber skits from SNL. Like, you know what? I think I need to actually go back and watch MacGruber. So I bought it for $6.
The algorithm worked.
Yeah, and I also have 4 movies on the way, which I'll show off next week again. I bought 4 movies on a sale on Groove, 2 for $24 4K. So I bought 2 different sets. I bought, let me go back here to the, I got The Departed on 4K, which is an upgrade for me. I already owned the Blu-ray, along with the digital code this time. Pacific Rim, upgrading from Blu-ray to 4K.
Oh, nice.
Nope, which I didn't own before.
Awesome.
And then Training Day.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Solid little pickup for me, so I'll have those next time to share. And all right, let's pick my movie.
Woo! What are you hoping it is?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping something.
You want action, comedy?
Oh, I didn't. I was hoping it was going to land on Pulp Fiction because mine's in alphabetical order, but it landed on one just after it. Push with Chris Evans. You guys ever seen that weird
Push?
indie superhero movie that he did? And I want to
No.
say it was. Let me go to the. Let me go back to 3-man screen. Push, Chris
Huh?
Evans. Yeah, he's like a telekinetic.
Push.
It's got Jaimin Hansu, Camilla Bell,
Jimon Hansu, yeah.
Dakota Fanning, and it's came out in 2009, and it's like a little sci-fi superhero flick.
Is this before or after
Right before Captain
Fantastic
America,
Four?
after Fantastic Four, before Captain
Okay.
America.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. I haven't watched this in a long time.
I'll be my first
I've
time
never
viewing it.
heard of it.
Oh, sweet! I think you'll like it. I wish it was.
Okay.
It's a franchise. I was like, with the people in it, I was always kind of surprised they never did anything else with the IP. But I liked it. That from what I remember, I liked it. It had to have been 10 years since I've seen this plus. So.
Was it watched it in movie or was it?
Oh no, I watched it. I
DVD?
think I either rented it or bought the Blu-ray and just because I might have been working at Best Buy when I bought it for cheap, probably. And
Oh, okay.
watched it.
Oh, yeah.
So
R.I.P. Best Buy.
yeah, back when they actually sold movies.
Ugh.
So yeah, I bought that and watched it. Likely where I bought it, and we'll get to watch Push. So that'll be our next episode, which will end our current cycle, and then we'll do one more cycle to end the season, potentially
Woo!
with a Superman movie. We'll see what happens with that because we got to plan potential meetup stuff and do a in-person podcast or something. That'd be cool. All right, we're get out of here and see you in a couple of weeks for Push, starring Chris Evans.
Dude, I'm kind of excited. That sounds
Yeah.
cool.
That should be a good time.